Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Roy Canny, and with me today is Courtney.
Hi.
Matt.
Hello.
Adam.
Hi there.
And Robert Newman.
Hello. Coming in on Big 93.4.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Welcome to 93.4 WXJ. Latest tunes and whatever else they say. Really smart comment.
Man, that's what we need to do. We need to do like a radio parody, but about board games.
Yeah.
It's been a while
Big
since we've had a
morning.
podcast. Last time we had one, it was me, Courtney, and Matt. People have been under the weather. People are still under the weather. Ruthie's feeling a little bit sick. Also with like the rest of the Dice Tower staff, almost it feels like we come off the cruise ship. People are feeling. Anytime you come from a con, it's like con crud. But besides that, I just got off the Dice Tower cruise and it was amazing. Played lots of games there, which I'll talk about a couple of here. But how are you guys doing? How's your week's been? Have you been doing good?
I've been fantastic. Haven't been doing anything, but you know.
Matt's been doing all the nothing.
Nevertheless, man. Just living.
The
Been a good
dream.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up in the frozen wasteland now, so, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm frozen in. It's been a few cold weeks up here, man. It's been brutal.
It's been rough. In fact, I even played video games with Adam. He was
wow.
that-
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, we played a bit. We played a little bit.
Yeah. We had a
Where'd
good
y'all
time.
play?
Call of Duty, Warzone.
Warzone.
Yeah.
So
fun.
I limp around.
We've been good
rock
here, just
six,
busy
man.
working, knocking out stuff, playing
What-
games, just missing you guys. Sorry I missed the last podcast. Just
what
under
do you
the
play?
weather.
What do you play Call of Duty on? Like, is it PS5 or Xbox or?
Either or.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We got a PS5, and Ruthie really wants to play Call of Duty, but like I feel like you have to jump through so many hoops. We have to get the online thing, which I didn't realize at first. I'm new to PS5, so I guess I have to buy the monthly subscription for the online thing to be able to play online at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lame.
It's cheaper if you buy the whole year at a time. You end up
Right.
saving like 2 months worth. Also,
Yeah, it is
what's
substantially
cool
better.
is if you do the PlayStation Plus, Xbox Series Plus thing, the Xbox store is better, but PlayStation also does an PlayStation Plus where you can get a few free games every month. So even though you're downloading that stuff, they give out free games every month, so you can play more games and they also keep a backlog of old games. So
Oh, nice.
you pay for it, but you're also getting games out of it.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Video games and stuff.
Yeah,
But
but let's
yeah.
talk about that face-to-face board game stuff, bro. Who needs video?
What is that?
I guess
Who
we
needs
could.
that artificial AI video games? I want that cardboard. I want them paper cuts, man.
Well, we only have a little bit of news here this week. We do have Kabuto Sumo Samurai Slam is a new expansion coming for Kabuto Sumo. I think it's on crowdfunding right now. I played this. I never played a regular Kabuto Sumo, but I've played this one. But yeah, you get to have, it's basically like, you know those coin pushing machines? Have you ever seen
Yeah.
those? This is basically the coin pushing machine in the board game. You're basically
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
what it is.
push your little thing on. The cool thing is a bunch of the different like bugs have all sorts of different crazy superpowers and things like that. I had a spider that had a web that if it was touching my character, I got like an extra actions or something like that. There's all sorts of different ones you can do. I know the Dice Tower Pro Mat, you drop a bunch of aphids on the board, and when you knock a certain number of aphids off, you get extra turns to push things over. It's all this bug-related stuff in Kabuto Sumo, but you're really just trying to either A, knock off the other little beetle guy, or B, knock off the championship belt, which is on one of the discs, and if you knock that off, you also win. So there's multiple ways to win in the game, and I think maybe it's with one of the other expansions or whatever. It gives you a bunch of other ways to win, like table matches and ladder matches and weird stuff like that. But yeah, this is a crazy, funny, different game.
There.
Is this on GameFound or is this on Kickstarter?
I think it's on
It's,
Kickstarter. Yeah.
It's on Kickstarter. Yeah. It's a fun. I have the original and the little Mayhem expansion, which really the Mayhem expansion really helps it because the base game, as cool as the production was a little bit of a just you push, I push, you push, I push, and then
Yeah,
this
that
added
was-
the tables and the chairs and like the different kind of more WWE win conditions, and then
Yeah.
it was like Now we got a dexterity game. I think it's
Absolutely.
really fun and the production's sweet.
Yeah.
So I'll probably get the new one too.
Yeah,
Man,
I will note that I'm terrible at this game, but it is funny.
Oh man,
It
I had a
doesn't
similar
look-
experience to Adam, where it was just like, yeah, you're playing, and it's without any of the expansion. It is very much just a you push, I push sort of thing. But
Yeah.
I remember when they added the different shaped characters. So you get a rhinoceros beetle who's like just massive, and you're just
Yeah.
like, anyway, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a game that was like it seemed like you'd like it, and then it was like and then the expansions came out and the expansions really saved it. So the crowdfunded version now, the new one, feels like they kind of learned their lesson, and it's like, oh, this will be a game that's fun with more mayhem. And I think it's a crazy game, so
do you need
looks
the
good.
like? I'm looking at the stuff right now. Like, do you need the deluxe sumo ring and all that kind of stuff? Like,
I haven't actually looked at the Kickstarter. I know this is a standalone, so it's an expansion that can tie in with the original game, or it can be a standalone on its own. But I think ideally I don't know what the deluxe sumo ring is, but the way the original game worked was they had a cardboard ring that you would sort of build
Oh, yeah.
and then set your pieces on that. And that's how you would know when you won. It was when you knocked somebody off that little plinth.
so what do? You just like? Do you like toss your thing?
No, there's a little platform that you have to push on the platform, and then
Yeah.
you can
Yep.
move that platform around to different sides to try to like push your opponent.
It's not a super high energy dexterity game. So,
Right.
know, if you're coming from Rhino Hero or something like that, where it's just like, it may not quite be. It may get like
No,
that.
but I
it's
love the
not-
idea of like that coin game. This is
Yeah.
that arcade coin game that takes all of your money.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think what I love most about this is it says it's supposed to deliver this July.
I think Allplay has their stuff together. They normally do like
Yeah,
pretty
they-
small production games. And this is from Board Game Table. They used to be Board Game Tables, and now they started doing board
Yeah.
games. They have a bunch of like solid games, you know. And I mean, even though a bunch of their games aren't necessarily like my style, I know that there are people that regard like almost all of their games super highly. My favorite game from them is still QE. Like, I love that game.
QE is my favorite from them too. Their production quality is always good. I've
Yes,
had
for
that
sure.
experience too, right? Where like I liked QE a lot, and then I backed the Roll and Write, the band and the European band. You tour across America.
Yeah.
Oh my
On
God.
tour.
On tour.
On tour.
Oh yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of people love that one.
I like
too.
On Tour a lot because I like a Roll and Write, and it's an overproduced Roll and Write where you have these
Yeah,
big
yeah.
giant cards, big American map, and you kind of go across the country. It's got a little bit of, I mean, it's a pretty basic Roll and Write. It's like a step above Quicks, a Roll for America, but it's overproduced. And then I do have a couple other games from them. I think I backed some other ones where I'm like, like this is okay, but I love the form factor and I love the way the art looks, but I don't know if I'll play the game again. So maybe I should sell it.
Oh,
Remember when we talked about culling?
interesting.
Well, that's the thing. This is why this show is so bad for me. Like all year, and I know like all year, it's only been 23 days in the year, but like so far, I've not bought a new game. I've been really good. And then the first piece of news, and I'm adding stuff like to my cart.
Oh, Dad. Well, we can talk about our next piece of news as well, which is Among Cultists. I guess and Galactic Heroes at the same time. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah, so it's an expansion for Among Cultists is what's being brought to Kickstarter, but they have Galactic Heroes, which is a rebrand of
Human Punishment.
thank you. Yeah,
Right. This was like the kiddie or the more kid-friendly version of this.
Yeah, and they're bringing it back since Human Punishment's been out of print. If you were trying to get a copy of it, you couldn't. So this is a rebrand. Plus,
It's supposed to be more streamlined, I think, too. Yeah.
Have you guys played Among Cultists at all?
I backed it. I still haven't got my copy. So
Oh, dang. It's very much like Among Us, the board game. I mean, it makes sense because it's Among Cultists. But you're basically running around from room to room trying to get all of these different spell books. But one of you guys is the cultist / imposter or whatever. And it's a very simple game. And anytime you have an interaction with another player, they put a card in your deck. And all the good players just have good cards. All they can do is put good cards in there. The bad players have good cards and bad cards. So they could put a good card in there. They could put a bad card in there. If they put a bad card in there and you have a certain amount of bad cards, I think it's like, maybe it's just one. If you have one bad card in there, you're dead. So you have to like you have these interactions with different players, and you notice who's going through the rooms with the other players. Anytime you just even go through a room with another player, you have to exchange cards with each other. I give you a card, you give me a card.
Oh.
And the cultists win if they kill a certain number of the regular players based on player count. And the players win if either A, they find out who the cultist is, or B, if they get enough spell books to like to stop the ritual or something like that, I think. But yeah, I played this game, and it was super fun. It was fun enough that we had a copy at work, and I was like, I'm taking this home just because I feel like it's super simple. I don't think the setup's super easy because you have to set up these envelopes with like the different characters in it and like make sure to pass them out correctly and stuff like that.
Ooh,
but
that's just one vibe.
a little bit, but not that bad because like all the good guys just have good cards, but the bad guys have like different cards, and there's a ton of different roles. I've only played with the basic stuff, so I only know how like regular cultists and like regular humans work. But once you start playing the game, it's ridiculously simple. Like it's extremely simple. And it's just about that deduction of the other players. And I felt like, man, if I set this up, I could almost play this with my kids because it's that simple, you know?
That's great because I backed Stationfall because I was like, this gives me big Among Us vibes. And it definitely has that. There's just
but it's also a huge
other
game.
Stuff going on.
Chaotic.
So a simple Among Us game sounds great.
That's favorite game.
I feel like once we figured out the rules at work, we played a game of Among Cultists in like 45 minutes. You know, it was ridiculously quick.
Oh.
I mean, we died, but but we still played 45 minutes.
Fun doing it.
And I actually really did because I was just like, we really should have guessed and like looked at people and like deduced that more. You know, we were so busy focusing on trying to stop the ritual, and that takes a really long time. We should have been like looking at each other's health to see if somebody was actually dead or not, and who passed through the room with them, and why are they dead? That was the other person passed through the room with them. It's them. Get them. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Galactic Heroes looks like if it's a kid-friendly deduction game, that would be awesome too. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we've spent ample amounts of time talking about Human Punishment on here and how much we love that game. So it in a more streamlined, a little less maybe gamified version for some lighter minds probably is going to be excellent. So
yeah, it's going to be weird for me to think about that game without the cyberpunk dystopian theme, though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that adds to like the confusion and cruelty of the game. Like the theme
Yeah.
didn't matter that much, but I guess just like in my like own head space when we were playing it, I'm like, yeah, rocket launchers and cyborgs. Like this nothing makes sense. It felt
Aren't
like
you-
a
Aren't you when you're a
Zack
bad guy,
Snyder
you're like
character.
the machine or whatever, instead of just like a
Yeah.
robot?
Yep.
You're the machine. So
You're the machine, or you could be
Or your Legion.
the Outlaws or the Legion. Like it was. I'll be interested to see this. I played some Human Punishment over holiday break with some of my friends in town here, and they loved it so much that my friend Sarah, she like sought it out and went and bought it used. Like she was like, I can't believe you can't buy this. It's so unique, and it is. It's such a familiar formula, but with like just enough of a twist. I'm still in shock that they bumbled like having a second edition of that game so badly. So
and I
hopefully
feel like
this
it's
works
weird
out.
because I never hear any other content creators talk about Human Punishment like at all. It's crazy.
Like, we might just be a bunch of weirdos, I
Yeah,
guess.
probably.
Hey,
Well, I mean, we also have like we've played a lot of social deduction games, you know. So like we have like there's some like people that just aren't into social deduction that much, but like the interesting randomness and chaos that the game creates is like something that's fun, you know. So
I think social
Well, I
deduction
think when
is
you-
very people dependent on who you're
Right.
playing with it. I think that makes it fun or not fun.
Yeah.
And so when we're playing
You're-
with a bunch of people we know really well and get along
Yeah.
with really well, it's a whole lot more fun than playing it with people strangers sometimes. Yeah.
I feel a little bit like the controlled chaos of that game also is kind of a respite when you've been playing a bunch of games that are really strategic or really tactical all day. And then you're like, well, now we're going to do 2.5 hours of let Kent Parker burn the table out, you know, like, you know, like just like you have these moments in that game where like everything changed. It was almost over. and the whole game resets and it resets, and in a lot of games that would be frustrating, but it's not that. So I hope if they retheme it and it feels a little more approachable for our family, that's great. But also, I hope it doesn't lose those moments where you're like, this game is over next turn, and then somebody plays something where it's like, oh no, it's not. Everything's different. Like that's the best part, So
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. It definitely feels like that comfy pair of pajamas that you have that like has one too many holes in it and doesn't really.
Yeah.
The waistband's mostly gone, but you're like, man, it's so cozy.
Any social deduction game where an event card can come out at the very end and then switch your loyalty is always chaos.
Yeah.
It's like, guess what?
I'm
you
rooting
thought
for
you're
this
winning,
big
but
time.
not now. You're this, and I'm you, and you're me. But Kent arrived just
I hope
in
it's
time.
really good.
Kent arrived just in time to talk about this next game on the list.
Yes. Hello.
Kent is here. I went back and made sure to change it instead of being just Courtney to Kent and Courtney. So there you go.
Good.
But yeah, the next game here was announced by Stonemaier Games. I see people are already getting copies of this. This is Wormspan, which had a whole bunch of people just adding names of things and span to the end of it to see what sort of other games could be put in the Wingspan universe, cinematic universe. But yeah, Rob, what do you think about this? Like, I mean, I know me and you were both down on like Wingspan is like birds, whatever. But now it's dragons. How do you feel about the dragons, bro?
I could get behind dragons. I love the art. I think it's really cool. I love what they're trying to do. That'd be the only reason I would play this game is because of the way it looks like. Like Wingspan's okay, but like I'd rather play other games. I don't know, but I like the concept. I think that's a cool, funky, like maybe Asia style dragon a little bit, but not full Asia.
They have
but
tons of different ones in there,
yeah.
I'm sure.
But yeah, no, it looks cool, but I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be my cup of tea or something like that. But I bet Ken will buy it and probably enjoy it a lot. So.
I like the fact that this is designed by Connie Vogelman, who did Apiary, but then also it's developed by Elizabeth Hartgrave. And it looks cool. It looks like they've done some interesting new things with the game as far as like you have to now have like caves out before you can start putting dragons out. And then they took out the dice apparently, and then you have certain points like these scales that represent like action points and things like that. It'll be interesting to see how much they've changed the game up. Yeah, the theme's gone. I listen, if the food types are like sheep and people and knights and stuff like that, I'm in.
Oh my gosh.
Like I don't want to do worms and like berries, but like
what if your dragon gets sick if he eats too many knights in a row because it's like too much metal in their system and stuff like that?
That'd be great.
If they did stuff
There's
like that, like you'd get me
peasants and knights are the food types.
back, right?
Peasants,
Man, if
knights,
you eat
and livestock.
too many knights, yeah, you're gonna crack some teeth. It's gonna mess it up. So you got to focus on the sheep and the humans, like the non-armored humans.
there you go.
You tuck the knights and get indigestion, like.
Right?
What do you think about this, Kent?
I'm all about it. I think it's really cool how Connie Vogelman is the one who actually is doing the design for it, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I love what she did with Apiary, so I'm interested to see what they can do to take the Wingspan system and just like kind of, change it up and have a different perspective with it. Like I think it's going to be, I think I'm going to love it, but I think it's really interesting to kind of see how this is, taking a game like Wingspan and evolving it into something a little bit different to also appeal to like another audience. So I think that's cool. So I think it's a good idea.
I like Connie's wavelength because like first game space with bees, yes.
Yeah.
Second game dragons. I'm a basic nerd. Like I like space, I like dragons, I like fantasy,
Yeah.
I like cyberpunk, I like all of these like super nerdy things. It's like yes, bring the super nerdy stuff to Stonemaier Games, So because they've been doing like abstract themes here and there, or not abstract, but more like real world themes. It's just cool to see, the fantasy
got a
and the
variety.
sci-fi coming out.
They've got like the Euphoria is kind of out there, but then they have very normal things like viticulture.
Yeah. Making wine or like, well, they did add a bunch of fantasy races into Tapestry. So that's very
true.
fantasy as well.
And then they have
so.
Scythe, which is kind of fantasy, sort of. It's kind of merges
Yeah,
the two.
you're right. So they have a
Yeah.
full slate.
Yeah.
And of course, it being Stonemaier, that I'm sure they sold a bajillion million copies immediately. So
Well, this isn't
that-
available yet. You can pre-order it on January 31st on the Stonemaier web store, or I think it's coming to retailers shortly after that at some point. I'm not sure when, but pretty soon this year.
He's on point with just getting his games into people's
Yeah.
hands as fast as
Yeah,
possible.
it's already. I think it's
His
on the boat
distribution's
right now, or
Dude.
it's coming very soon.
It's honestly a breath of fresh air that he does it that way compared to like all the waiting around and like the kind of like the hype. I
The
don't know.
things,
It's a-
the
it's a
things
pot-
you can
podcast.
do when your company has made millions and millions and millions of dollars.
That's
you know,
right.
it's like
Yeah.
We're
there's
looking
no,
at you, Simon.
there's like no way
Yeah.
you could do that if you haven't. I don't know how much like margin Simon makes on their stuff. You know,
That's
their
true.
margins are probably not that great compared to Stonemaier margins. You know, that I'm sure all that plastic and miniatures cost so much. You know,
Oh, for sure. I'm just saying
Yeah,
more about
but-
the distribution.
Jamie's game. I
Oh,
mean,
for sure.
they produce a very predictable, good quality of game like every time too. I think
Yeah.
that's
oh for sure.
that's the thing that they've done is like it's less about building up a bunch of hype and it's more about like I think a trust with the consumer
Right.
that's there. Not that Simon makes a bad game. I just think like they're just like I don't even know. They're like I was gonna say like a BMW. I've never drove a BMW, so maybe that's completely horrible euphemism. But you know what to expect when you kind of like get into a certain car, and I think Stonemaier's done that. Like it's a predictable weight, I think, and it's usually predictable quality of components and art.
I don't know of anybody who has a brand stronger in the industry than like Stonemaier Games. You know, his brand is like
Yeah.
so strong. You know,
Maybe Simon, but I think it just depends on.
I
how
don't
you're
think
looking at
like
it.
there's plenty of people. I mean, I guess there's people that hate Stonemaier Games too, but like Simon,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
they're-
Simon's more divisive because of the big IPs and because of the Kickstarters. But I just mean like in terms of like the name of the
brand.
company has
Yeah.
some brand weight. It's probably those two, and I think Jamie feels like a more relatable company because of his
Right.
face and his personality. I think
can you
helps.
name the owner of Simon?
No idea.
It's
Larry
David
Simon.
David something.
Did you say Larry Simon?
It's David something.
Gotta-
But anyway, yeah.
I'll say this. I'll jump on the bandwagon a little bit of the breath of fresh air. Like, I just got my notification last week that one of my Simon games that I backed in 2022 is finally coming in. And now it should be here Thursday. Like, there gets a little bit of fatigue
Oh,
when
for sure.
you're waiting years for some of these games. Like, I'm still waiting on Trudvang, and that was back, bro, when Eric Lane was like full on with the company when I backed Trudvang. Like,
Wait,
that was like
you
pre-COVID.
don't have that yet?
Well,
Not
the
all the
extra stuff.
expansion stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
I have
yeah,
the base box.
I canceled my pledge like forever ago.
Yeah. But like, there's a fatigue about that. So like the companies like Stonemaier Games who are able to get games out quickly, it'll make me want to back it just so I don't have to wait like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Or 2 years or however long. Like that's really kind of ridiculous when you're waiting for some of the stuff. And I understand there's a lot that they're doing, but I love also every year how their excuse. Well, guys, man, couldn't predict this, but Chinese New Year's again. The factory's closing down for a month. It's every January. Like, you know, please quit using that as an excuse. But it's like, oh man, guys, we couldn't get it done in time. Chinese New Year, they close. So I almost want to buy Wormspan just to support the.
It's more that they
hey,
don't
thank
ever
you.
give themselves enough time. When they calculate out their timelines for everything, they need to pad in. Like, they just need to add a year to everything. They're like, here's how much time it's going to take. Let's add a year, and that's pretty
Which
much
I hate
the
'cause they already
realistic
put out a year.
time
They
frame.
already put out it. Like Deceased that I just backed, it's not coming out until like they already put down 2025. If
Yeah,
that
but-
would have said 2026, I would not have backed it.
Yeah.
But that's
least
how they
it's
get you.
being
They tell you
yeah.
2025, and then it comes in December 2025, not January, February 2025.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The first
I think
box
that-
comes in December.
I think that's why Jamie stopped doing Kickstarter, right? Is his and because
Yeah.
that's such a different. With Kickstarter, they want your money before they start production, whereas with pre-orders, he's already made the games. He's just
It's
getting
very
them out
much
to
the fact that
people.
his
So
margin.
It's very different. He's already
has-
put all the money
Yeah.
into the game.
Yeah, he has the money to make the game beforehand. Simon
Yeah.
does not have the money to make the game beforehand.
With
That's
those
just it.
giant
They need to know
Simon
how many
projects,
people.
yeah, you
They
have
need to know how many people want the game. They have to know. With Stonemaier, not only does he announce the game, he does pre-orders before like reviewers are allowed to talk about the game, which is kind of a weird thing as well.
No, the pre-orders aren't up.
Right,
No,
but I'm just
he doesn't
saying,
do that. Yeah.
sometimes he'll be like, hey, I need the embargo to be the same day as the pre-orders are or whatever, you know. But his brand is so strong, people trust that the game's going to be good, you know, in general, you know. So it's like
typically, at
there
least in the
haven't
past,
been-
is
like, he
the
hasn't
reviews
had-
come out a week before the pre-orders.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. But yeah, I know that Wormspan is going to be like huge, you know, especially because just going off Wingspan, the fact that Apiary was so much fun, you know, I feel like this is going to be a slam dunk, you know.
Should be.
I know some of them aren't ready to come out yet, but I've got like 5 or 6 Cool Mini or Not games that I'm still waiting on Kickstarter stuff.
Dang.
When will you learn?
When will you learn?
They'll show
Bro,
up.
the
eventually.
minis are so
They'll show
good.
up eventually. At least you know they'll show up eventually. Like with some Kickstarters,
Yeah.
you know, I not get them.
You
So
probably have Simon games waiting on your shelf
Like
for
hell, the
not
last
that
saga.
long too. Anyway,
Oh, yeah, I don't know if that's
I
ever
mean,
coming out.
we
Rob.
still have not played our copy of Project Elite that we've had. How long? Like,
What?
You
a
know.
while.
I'll
I mean, we
teach you.
have
Played
played
the
Project
original.
Elite. We played the original, but we have not played our
and
new
not the
copy.
one.
It's so good. I'll teach you.
It's
We
so
should play.
good, but
But
yeah.
see, like games like this Wormspan thing, like I want to support it just because of what they're doing.
Yeah.
You'll get my money.
Well, I wonder, should I mention the fact that Last Light is launching next Tuesday?
What? We had
look it
no
up.
idea.
What?
Dude, how many advertisements have you guys gotten?
A ton.
Holy smokes.
Every time I go on GameFound, it's just like, hey, just FYI. I don't know if you're aware, but last
I'm sort of not joking. I had to take a break from social media from all like the spam stuff, like media
from-
all year.
Just last
Just because.
Dude, like
I
the
mean, last night
Gray,
and other things. I've
Gray-
just been like,
Gray
this is
Fox
like, I
went-
need a break.
Gray Fox went super hard on the like social media advertising, and then GameFound was also advertising it. So I'm like, holy smokes! If you don't know about it, it's your own fault. But hey, they're coming out with I think it's like 5 new aliens or something like that, and I'm excited about like, you know, getting more the game to more people, you know, because there's a lot of people that wanted the deluxe version and wasn't able to get it, and now people are gonna actually have an opportunity to do that, you know. So I'm just excited
I
about
want
more
it
people getting
super
their hands
fast. Right price. I will sell you my copy.
on it. Right. What was I gonna say? There should be more retail copies coming out to go to stores and things like that soon. I know they're like already printing that stuff, but this is for like the deluxe version of the game. So if people want to back that, they can check that out on GameFound. We already have like more people following it than was following the first campaign, so I'm like super stoked for that. So we shall see.
It's gonna be good, bro. We're excited for you.
Yeah.
But I am serious. So if you guys want a copy sooner, because I will back it if I sell my copy. You know, so it's like a win-win. Like Roy still gets like the backing of like another backer, but for the right price, just message me and I'll and Kent touched my copy. Kent and Matt have touched my copy. So
oh boy.
yeah,
Like,
add a 0 though.
Rob
Whatever
trying
you're
to-
thinking. Add a 0.
Rob trying to scalp my game on our own podcast. Like what?
Rob's a salesman. Okay.
I guess you're right. What did I expect? You know, what did I expect? Well, I guess we can get into the games we've been playing. And the first one here is going to be Adam's game.
Oh, all
I
right.
recognize
So
this game.
I played some Stranger Things Upside Down a bit the last couple weeks. Rob and I talked about this while playing Call of Duty. It was I went back and forth because I know Rob liked it. And I know Kent and Courtney were a little cooler on it, and I've enjoyed
It's
the
so
game. I
good.
think the theme is implemented really really good. Like it is a very well implemented theme. Like it feels like you're in the game. Like it's really nice. It's a little underproduced for a CMON game, but I think that's because it's meant to be sold at Target, which so for
That's
$40.
my only complaint about it.
Yeah, I would like an $80 version of it, I think, but I understand what they did because it's like we'll sell a trillion of these just based on the price in the box alone. I will say, I do agree that like 1 in every 3 plays, you just die on the second or third turn because those the Demigorgon chip, when it comes up at the wrong time, there's no way to mitigate it. You're just dead. And that does not feel good. I think that would be my biggest critique of the game. Again, a deluxe version would be great. But my biggest critique of the game is like, I'm enjoying the theme. I want to be able to play for 45 minutes or an hour. Me and the kids are playing. And it's like, well, we're dead. Do you want to restart it? And I feel like there should
So you're mad that you were Barb.
Yeah.
Every third game you're Barb.
I feel like there should have been a better like a difficulty scaling, or maybe like a suggestion to like have a certain number of I think it's the Demigorgon chip specifically that will just get you at a bad time. So it's like you can have like kind of a wombo combo where you make one decision to tank a little bit of fright, and then that thing comes out and it's like you're gonna get one fright for every one that was in there. And if somebody didn't deal with them at any point, it just stacks, and all of a sudden you got 6 fright on one character, and it's over. There's a couple times that felt frustrating, but I actually really like the game. I'm going to keep it, and I hope they make season 2 and 3, or season 3 and 4 for it at some point in the near future.
I love that too, and I love how the game also comes with season 1 and season 2. Have you played season 2 yet?
I haven't. I've only played season 1 so far. I've played it a few times.
I've only played season 1. I hope that they do a deluxe version for season 3 and 4. I hope it comes back out, which they have plenty of time now that season 5 isn't coming out until next year because they just started filming again. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, I'm like you, Adam. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I love the IP. And yeah, this was Simon Stonemaier game. We're just going to make it quick and put it out to retail.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing because it's not on your typical Simon standard of quality components, but the components aren't bad either.
They're good.
They're not bad.
It's just not like wowing you. Yeah, they're fine.
Well, yeah, when you're used to like this amazing miniature that's got so much detail just on its pocket, right?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But the game,
they're not like paintable minis or whatever. But yeah, it reminds me of playing Ghost Stories or something. Everyone here played Ghost Stories at some point, I assume.
Roy would not let us play.
I played plenty of times.
It's a game where like sometimes it's
did
just
I win?
the
No.
wrong 3 cards in a row and the game is just over. But yet
I
probably
played Roy for years when we
you
were doing
always get
Let us
the
just
wrong
play.
3 cards in a row.
Roy
Yeah,
was
because
like, no.
Roy was just like, it's just needlessly hard. And
That
it's
game
just
is
like, he's like, you just don't win the game.
But
You
Roy,
have
we
to
can do
get
it.
extremely
We'll win.
lucky
Right.
to win.
Yeah.
You know, you
We
can
do
do
it as a
every
team, Roy. No.
you can
That's how
get
Stranger
every
Things is.
you can do every possible move right and you just lose.
Yeah.
Immediately.
But Ghost Stories almost always kills you that way. So if you win Ghost Stories, it's not because you played better than the other times. It's because you were luckier than the other times.
100% agree with Ghost Story. Yeah, that's totally correct assessment.
I mean,
For the
people have
most-
fun
for-
with
pretty
that,
much,
but
yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
my style, you know.
But I think Stranger Things is exactly the same way. Honestly,
interesting.
like
Okay.
it's very similar in that aspect.
It's
There's
not
a
as
lot of things
reliably
that's
hard.
fun, but there's those
Ew.
cards can literally just undo your whole turn plus more. Like you literally go do something, and you flip over a card, and it's like, okay, undo everything you just did for your turn, and plus flip over another card, and something else even worse happens. It's literally like that. That's the game essentially.
Nope.
You got wombo comboed.
Yeah, I don't think it's as hard as Ghost Stories, but it does. There's definitely a yo-yo effect that can feel.
Also, think about this. You are a child fighting against a demonic entity alien thing from another dimension.
In
and
the
you're
show-
mad that it's tough.
In the show,
You're
did
mad
they
that
win?
it's tough.
Did they win in the show?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know.
and
I
they do
haven't
it
watched
pretty
season
easily.
5. I'm just kidding.
They do it pretty easily.
They
How
don't
many
win
people have
easily.
died? Not many.
They don't win pretty easily.
You shouldn't be dying every single game of this game.
Well,
It's
if
just
you
not fun.
only play it once and you died that game, then yes, you will have died every single time you
We
played the
we
game.
played it multiple times. We got destroyed every single time
Or
with
it's
no
just
fault
been-
of our own. It was just we just got hosed by randomness.
Got me a little fault. Got me a little
I do want to say that that after you guys talked about this the first time, Dustin messaged me and told me how this game was way too easy. So
Oh my god! Of course.
That's
We played it one
course.
time with Rob, and with Rob, you know the rules. You know who knows?
No,
Oh.
Dustin and Leo read the rules. Yeah, like it wasn't just me.
Uh,
And first of all, I make games fun. Okay, I make games fun. We have a good time.
You do.
But anyway,
It is
Stranger
true.
Things
It
is
is
a great
true.
game.
what's our next game here, Adam? Is this just Iron Brew? Is just your next game?
It's some Iron Brew. I actually drank an Iron Brew and played Isle of Skye the other day as well.
That's pretty thematic.
Yeah, yeah. If you can get your hands on an Iron Brew, if you're in an area that has like some kind of a European market, you should grab one and play some Isle of Skye. Isle of Skye is just a classic. It's a fun game. It's super easy to learn, super easy to play. And if you like playing tiles, you'll like Isle of Skye. It's just, to me, it's always like, it's a little Carcassonne plus. You get to wheel and
Yeah.
deal a little bit. You get to build a nice little medieval city. You get to be a whiskey baron, and every game plays pretty different from a goals standpoint, so it encourages you to build a little bit differently because there are quite a few. Each round has a different goal, and you get a different one. So you get a different set of 5 of them like every time. So I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it. I really like it. I think it's a real simple, easy kind of little Euro-y game with a bidding mechanic, and you get to build it. You get to place
Bro,
tiles.
you
I
had
love
me
placing.
to Carcassonne.
Man.
You never played this, Rob?
No, I've not, but I've grown
Man.
to really like Carcassonne. I played several times last year with my family for the first time.
Oh, nice.
And so yeah, I'm adding this to my list right now.
This is really good because it's like Carcassonne, but the player interaction comes in the term of you draft your tiles and then you put them up for auction with each other.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which just adds a nice little wrinkle, but it's not there's no take that element to it, so it's still pretty. It's a pretty. You're on a pretty
Farms are
equal
pretty
footing.
take that in Carcassonne, though.
Well, the cool
Yeah.
thing about it is you set the price for it, but if no one bids on it, you have to pay that price.
Yeah.
You can get hosed by like really trying to mess people up with the pricing, and you could just be stuck with some terrible tile. You're just trying, somebody really wants it, but then they make you
Yeah.
pay for it.
Yeah, the mechanic is you kill a tile and then you put prices on your own 2 tiles that are based on money you already have, so you can't
Never mind.
you can't
Yeah.
go in the hole.
I don't want any more. It sounds too much like Stranger Things. I'm done. Names every time. No.
And then a Demigorgon comes out of the lock and eats your head.
Dude, I'd play if there's Demigorgons in Isle of Skye. I'm in. Other than that, it sounds like Euro.
I was
Euro
even
pants.
talking to Kent earlier
There's
this
Highland
week.
Coos.
I think it was this week or last week about El Grande. There's so many older games that I need to
Oh yeah,
play and get my hands on.
I played El Grande. That one's the one with the tower, right?
Yeah,
it just
with
has
Keep
a
Tower.
tower.
There's a new version that just came out like last week or sometime recently that looks
Yeah.
a lot better, but I don't know. I haven't looked at it that much. The old one's
Anyway,
good.
get Isle of Skye. It's one of the good kind of classics, and it's super, super simple. It's cute.
Well, I guess we can go to Matt's game, which also I should have put this in the news, but apparently this game is also being reprinted. I saw the designers talking about how
Oh,
this game's
really?
coming back out.
Oh.
Because
Is
I
it
guess
actually coming out in wood?
I don't know. I just heard that another publisher had picked it up. And I'm
Great.
super excited because it's Sin Fu Lim and Chris Cormier are the designers on this, or Jay Cormier, sorry. And I'm excited about the game coming back out and making it more accessible. for
Shut
people.
up. They're coming back out with this?
I don't know which. I mean, you could look it up. I'm not sure which publisher. I mean, I could figure it out if Mike or if Matt wants to talk about the game for a second.
Well, the game's junk art, just in case you're and you can't see the actual podcast. It's junk art. It's an incredible game by Pretzel Games. It's a dexterity game that's
So
got,
good.
I think, like 15 or 18 different games in the box that you can play that have different rules and all sorts of stuff like that. I don't play any of those. We just build towers. There's a couple of different modes that we like to oscillate between. But it's a really good time. And as long as, honestly, if they're coming out with a new one, please come out with giant junk art.
Oh,
Oh, that'd be great.
Ever since playing it at Gen Con,
Right.
I want it so bad.
Bro, how many times did we walk by that booth and just play again?
Yeah, we're just sitting there like, can we take this? Is this for free? Can I?
the designer said that it's going to be coming out from Luda Nova. Is going to be the publisher now. So hopefully it'll be good. A bunch of people are excited to hear that it was coming back out, and I still think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I haven't played this in a hot minute, and haven't really gotten to bust it out. So my girlfriend had invited some of her work friends over, and so we had a little game day yesterday, actually.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, it was a lot of early games. We also played like Just One. We played Cash
love
and
it.
Guns, and
Love it.
that one solid. And then we played the other game that I have on my thing, which is Wavelength. And so, just pretty light games, but Junk Art I feel like was kind of the fave out of what everybody had. They had a good time with it, and it's a solid game. It's a lot of fun. It can be a little tense. It can be a little I don't know. It's action packed. It's always a good time though. It's so much fun. And even like when you get out, you just sit there and you watch other people build their towers, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah, you're still in it. You're still in it
It's gonna fall.
because then you're
Let's-
rooting for the people that got you out. You're rooting for
Right.
the other person, right? It's like no. Like remember, Roy would always do that. He'd build this ridiculous monstrosity on the corner, and he just had to like breathe the wrong way, and it'd fall over.
Yep.
And then we'd end up rooting anybody just screw over Roy. Just get him.
Please.
So
There's
good.
so many different ways
Yeah,
to play
please
this
don't.
game too.
Oh yeah, it's a solid game. I think anybody who hasn't played it should definitely find a copy, get a copy, go play it. I have the old wooden version from Pretzel Games. When they redid it, it was in plastic. Never played it, so I don't necessarily know how it plays. But
Oh, gotcha.
it's good. Just play it. It's so good. And then the other game we played, like I said, was Wavelength. It's a game from the people who do Monikers. It's a very simple game. You just have two sort of you draw a card. You have two poles where it's like hot or cold. Then you spin this little thing on a. Let me show it off
You'd
because I
rock
did
the
not
rock.
take any pictures of anything because I was too concerned with teaching games and not concerned enough with being a social media star. But there's this thing right here.
I love
And
it.
so you can spin this little white thing, and it sets this dial. So you draw a card. It gives you two different things, and then you have to come up with something that would fall in here and tell everybody else, and then have them try to set this dial collectively. We played it entirely cooperatively, where
Oh, interesting.
we were all just kind of trying to work it out. Oh, giant box fart.
Beautiful.
About the only time I can do that. Blame it on the box. But yeah, we played it that way just because I wasn't sure if people would like to break up into teams. It was my first time playing with a couple of people. But it was a pretty solid game, and everybody got the hang of it. We just kind of passed the box around. Everybody did their own little.
I like that when you're playing competitively, one team sets the dial and tries to figure it out, but then the other team tries to guess whether it's higher or lower than
Yeah.
where it is. So it adds where you can get points when you're on the other team. When you're not guessing, you're like, I think you're wrong. I think it's higher than that, or I think you're wrong. I think it's lower than that, and that adds a
Right.
different dynamic, and you can get points that way as well. So it's kind of cool.
That sounds like a lot of fun. That reminds me of playing like Wits and Wagers Vegas almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I've got to try that next time.
It's super simple game, but yeah, Wavelength is a
Yeah.
great party game.
Absolutely. I mean, they even have a phone app, I think, where it's like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just the game, and it's like so easy, and you can just play it with people without having the actual board game. It's solid.
Noise. Matt has 3 games this week.
Oh no!
That's the movie. Never mind.
That's the topic.
Let's not do that. And then Rob's game.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was also like Matt. I did not have time to be a social media star, so I just have like some Google picture of the game I was playing. But this is a game I actually played at Christmas. I played other games since then, but I wanted to talk about. Ooh, Matt, that's your movie, Sunshine. Oh
Absolutely.
man, sorry.
Spoilers.
Such a great movie. But
I was like,
Marvel
what is
Zombies.
this game? Oh.
So I wanted to play Marvel Zombies because this rendition is where you are actually the zombie, and I didn't like it as much. It kind of hurt my heart a little bit. So in Marvel Zombies, you pick one of your characters, and you can be like the zombie, like it shows. Zombie Captain America, Zombie Hulk, and all this other stuff. And what happens is every single round you have a food meter, and if you don't consume an innocent or a bystander or a human agent that's fighting against you, every round your food meter or your hunger meter is going to go up one, right? And after
wow.
you get to so much hunger, you're just going to take a point away or a health point away, right?
wow.
But there's in the game when you play this. There's not you're not picking up equipment or anything like that, so there's really not a way to heal, right?
Oh, interesting.
Unless like you eat a certain bystander, because there's some like you can eat like Aunt May and other stuff like that, because you do random like people, and they might give you perks and stuff, but like outside of that, like on regular zombie side, you walk around, you can try to go scavenging and try to pick up loot and stuff in different rooms, and this one you can't. So like when you're down to 2 or 3 health, you're just down to 2 or 3 health, and then when you get to such a high hunger, you become fury. And when you're furious, you can only do one attack. So you have two attacks normally. You have like your special attack, which like the Hulk had this really cool like slam attack. But anytime you got to that 4th level of hunger, you could only do that one special kind of attack. And you rolled a die, and you had to do it to eat somebody to bring your hunger back down to 0. And so it was fun. I'm not going to say that I didn't enjoy it, but I guess I'm just spoiled from all the years of all my other Zombicide experiences. I didn't realize how much I would miss equipment.
Have you played the other version of it, the one where you are the good guys fighting against the zombies?
Not yet.
I think that has equipment and everything back.
Yes. Well, see, it shows the cards. Like I've seen the cards.
I think we're going to be hearing about that.
Yeah, you might be hearing about that in a little bit. So.
Yeah. And I already know that I'm going to like that version because I like that kind of stuff. I just thought this one was really annoying. Also, your player board is different. Like on the other player boards, you have room for your equipment and your backpacks and stuff like this.
Don't you get like powers or something if you eat certain superheroes or something? Or how does...
Sometimes, yeah, you can hold up to 2. I believe it's 2 special characters if you eat certain bystanders and stuff like that.
Oh, gotcha.
In the game, and they give you certain powers. Like one might let you roll an additional attack die, or one might let you take an additional space. Some of the bystanders, though, if they escape, you automatically lose the game. So the game makes you chase them down and eat them and stuff. It wasn't bad. I wish I could go back to Christmas and bring the other version, because I think my in-laws and stuff would have liked the other version a little bit better. Gotcha. Getting the equipment and stuff. Because the whole time, like, after the second round, you're going to then start freaking out and try to find where is somebody nearby that I could go eat, because I know I can't eat anybody this round. So that's the 3rd round. And by the 4th round, like, if I don't eat somebody and reset this, then I'm going to be in fury. And if you end your turn and you're in fury, you lose a health point.
Did it make you feel like a zombie? Where you're like, I need to eat somebody.
Yeah. But the problem is you're too much like a zombie. Like, you only really get a couple turns before you then have to go chase somebody down to eat them. And you might have to be looking for boxes. They might try to have you run all over the place. And there's people around, but it's not the same. I didn't like the healing. It was fun. I'm just glad that I have more of the game rather than just Marvel Zombies. I probably would have sold it if I just had Marvel Zombies. But I'm really excited to hear what Courtney has to say about her edition. So that's it. Marvel Zombies, fun game, had a blast, but just spoiled from past experiences.
I have a couple games that I played. I taught Ruthie a Sheriff of Nottingham. I saw it on the shelf in the Dice Tower library, and I was like, Ruthie's never played Sheriff of Nottingham. And Sheriff of Nottingham is like the game that brought like me and Rob together, like the lying and the tricking and things like that in Sheriff of Nottingham. And yelling at each other and the wheeling and dealing and like, oh, you can get this through this turn or whatever, that sort of stuff.
Bad British accents.
She had never played it before. And so I was like, man, I need to get this out. They have it in the library. So I got the Dice Tower copy of that. And it was just so much fun. We played with a 6-player game with a lovely group of people there that was not afraid to lie and get contraband in all of their things all the time. But made a very interesting dynamic. They didn't let me sneak anything through. But I did a lot of the pretend like you're lying when you're not actually lying sort of thing. Because nobody trusts me anyway. So I don't know if they're like, he has tattoos. There's no way he's telling the truth. But yeah, we had a ton of fun with it. Ruthie had a blast with it. She snuck some contraband through, and she had a much higher score than me, mostly because like so much contraband was snuck through that all of my meager legal goods were not enough to contend with the massive amounts of contraband everybody had. But it was still a blast to play and see everybody popping open the bags. Sheriff of Nottingham is just like a classic, you know.
So good.
Every time.
And then also, I taught my son Scotty and a couple other guys Space Base. So I was walking through and I was like, I feel like Scotty would be able to actually play Space Base. So we ended up playing, and Space Invaders is such a good game. I don't know if you guys have played it, but basically
Yeah.
you're rolling 2d6. It's very Machi Koro-ish or whatever, but you're trying to get different faces on the dice, and depending on what you get, you're going to mostly get gold, and then you kind of like upgrade those to try to make it so that you have a bunch of abilities that trigger on your turn, but you're trying to make it so you have a bunch of numbers that trigger on your opponent's turn as well. And you get more and more of those together and get more and more points. You get cards that start letting you get points and things like that, and you really have to build that stuff up. And yeah, I really enjoy this game. I haven't played it in a while, but this is my first time kind of like teaching it myself and like showing it to other people. It's such a simple game. But Scotty really like got it, like, and understood what was going on. And he was excited when certain numbers would come up. It was just cool to see him playing a game that's like a little bit more gamery, even though it's really simple, but just seeing him play something with other straight up gamers. But yeah. I don't want to mention, or don't want to say too much, but I felt like he was grokking it more than some of the adults at the table. I was like, okay, good job, Scotty, good job. But what was I going to say? I think Scotty was like at 7 points at the end of the game, where the other guys were like under lower points than he even was, so it was kind of funny. So
He's a beast. I wonder
it's
if
a
his dad
beast.
is.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get to Kent's game.
All right, so this is another tile laying game, kind of like what Adam was talking about. So it's called Moon River. It's based off of King Domino. So if you played King Domino,
Nice.
you basically have been you kind of know the gist of how this game works. In King Domino, you're using tiles that have two different terrains on them, and you're building up a little 5x5 grid in your area. This is similar, except you are you're building the dominoes yourself. So the dominoes are like little puzzle pieces,
interesting.
and you choose the two pieces that are going to be going together. So in King Domino style, you're going to be claiming a tile in turn order, and then after you after in the start of the game, you're going to claim your tiles in order, and then when new tiles come out, they're ordered from low to high. So like the more valuable tiles mean you're going to go later in turn order. And essentially you're going to be claiming these tiles. You have a little area on your board where you can hold these little puzzle pieces until you decide you want to put two pieces together and then place it out in your little land area. And so the tiles have all sorts of little things on them where in King Domino you kind of score based on crowns, and it's like a multiplication kind of thing where you're trying to build really large areas of the same colors. And this one is similar, except there's no crowns or inherent scoring on the tiles themselves. You have to collect cows, and you're going to be certain tiles provide cows. You can move the cows around with different little actions on the tiles. And there's more interaction in that, like, you can steal people's cows. There's little spots where you can get little people to help you. They're called I forget what they're called, maybe cowboys or something, or I think they're called partners. And they let you do little special abilities, like, so you can steal a cow out of somebody's area unless it's protected by a partner, or you can move your cows around, or there's all sorts of little special powers you get to do, and that's in the tiles that have little circle areas. There's some tiles that kill your cows when you place them, so like if you are not careful, you can basically hurt yourself when you're placing the tile, and you can kind of draft in such a way where sometimes people are stuck taking those tiles. It just depends on how you want to do it. But it's very much like King Domino, if you like that kind of game where you're building up your own little space, doing the tile drafting thing. But you're a lot more flexible in how you build the tiles and what tiles you connect to each other. So it's kind of it's more gamery, I would say. It's got a few extra levels of stuff going on, but I wouldn't say it's a difficult game. So we played it with my parents, and they're not really gamers. They've played a lot of stuff with us, and they
played King Domino before.
Yeah, and they played King Domino before. They did okay with it. It took them a little while to figure out with what was going on with the new stuff, but pretty much most people can, most gamers can handle it, I'm sure. But it is pretty fun, and if you want a little bit more from a King Domino style game, but not like crazy complex, it's kind of a good middle ground, I would say.
I have a burning question. What
yeah.
do the beavers do, though? What do the beavers do?
Beavers
They give you
score.
points.
They give you points based on. You can get little partners that increase your points per beavers. I think beavers are worth 1 point by themselves.
Nice.
And you get little people that help you get more points per beaver. So you can collect like a bunch of beavers to score if you get the little extra scoring multipliers. And same with gold. And you have and you can collect corn. So corn is special because cows can't go through the cornfields, but every cornfield is just a bunch of points.
Oh,
So you can just go. You can't multiply that score by anything because the cows can't go in there because, again, cows are the multipliers for the area.
Interesting.
But corn is kind of a different element to the game, and it kind of blocks your pathing. If you want to move cows, they can't cross through corn. So there's ways to like, it can kind of mess you up, but also can just give you a lot of points if you're heavy on corn.
Yeah, I think that's how your dad won, right?
Yeah,
he's
went
like
all in on corn.
all in on corn.
And Bruno didn't add any bidding for turn order in this.
It's the same thing. No, it's the exact same thing for turn order. It's identical in every
Same.
way. So like,
As King Domino.
yeah, same as King
way.
Domino. You're gonna get, if you go into a weaker tile, you're gonna go first for the next.
Okay.
time. Yeah. So same exact thing. But yeah, it's like King Domino, but a little bit more. It's pretty fun. I would recommend it if you like that style of game, or if you like King Domino, you want a little bit more. But definitely family weight for sure.
All right. Well, I wonder what Courtney's game is.
What?
Oh, it's
What?
kind of Marvel Zombies, but not exactly.
So we played Marvel Zombies, but we played the other version, I guess it's
X-Men Resistance.
Yeah, so Kent thought it would be easier to learn how to play that versus the other Marvel Zombies because you're.
I honestly didn't have any interest in playing playing
really?
as zombies, so I was like, I want to
Okay.
play superheroes.
Well, anyway, so we went with whatever Kent wanted to learn the rules for. So
Good
so we played this a few times. We played it first by just me and Kent, and then because we wanted to kind of get the kinks rolled out and like figure out how to play it, and then we tried to play it with both of our sons, but our 5-year-old like backed out last minute, so it was just 2 of us and our 7-year-old. I think he had a lot of fun with it, but it's kind of similar to the other zombie sides. You're running around killing zombies and then trying to like reach an objective or meet an objective. So like Rob said, with this one, you don't pick up equipment. So one of the actions you can do on your turn is you can just take they call it a heroic trait.
Something like that, yeah.
And there's like a huge stack of them, and you don't really know what they're going to be. Sometimes they let you, like take an extra move action, or like if something specific happens, you get to do something. But they're kind of one-time use cards. Basically, you
interesting.
use it and then you lose it. I mean, it's gone for the rest of the game. So, but they're pretty easy to get because you just use an action on your turn and you take one. So it's kind of nice because I know in some other types of games where you have like limited movement, it's like, oh, I don't really want to I can't really get to where I want to go on this turn, or I don't really need to move this turn because I'm not going to have enough action to do what I want to do. So I've got this one action left over. Okay, let me just take a heroic trait. Like that's kind of a nice aspect of it, I thought. But also, I mean, I think one of the times or a couple of times I never ended up using them. Like the things that needed to happen were kind of specific, and I just never needed to use it. The first time we played this, we lost. We kept playing.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, like, because I think I was playing as Wolverine because I was like, who doesn't want to be Wolverine? But being a melee character in this game was not a good thing. Like, because he couldn't. One of his special powers was healing ability, but you didn't get that until you were like at the very end of his experience points. So in all of the heroes, most of the heroes I saw only have 3 health, which when you're going up against like 6 zombies, you can usually die. So I ended up dying. Wolverine ended up dying. But we just like undid that and like kept playing because we just wanted to get more experience kind of playing the game. So I found that melee characters
Who's not
were a
playing by the
little bit
rules
easier.
now? Rob's justified. Rob is justified.
We rolled it back somehow. I can't
We just
remember
rolled
how
it back. Like I was basically like got into a spot where I realized I was going to die the next turn, and so we're like, oh, okay, let me just undo that, and we're like, we'll just say we
It was
lost
like
for
instead
sure,
of moving
but
into the 6 zombies, you stood here
and
just
did something
waited.
else, yeah. But like I said, but we definitely
This
would have
was
lost.
to learn the game.
But yeah, it was a learning game.
It was just figuring it out.
And we played like an easier, shorter scenario with our son, and we won that one.
And then
nice.
we played another.
And then we played another. We played 2 back to back, and but yeah, melee characters I feel like are a little bit harder to use because you can't. I don't know. There's so many zombies at once, and unless you roll really well, it's very easy to die because if you have, like I said, you only have 3 health, and there's very limited ways to heal. I'm sure some of those cards, like the heroic traits, would probably let you heal, and I'm sure there's.
Wow,
Other
if it was hard
different
for you to
special
heal
powers
as Wolverine, then there's not a whole lot
Yeah,
of hope.
it seemed really, and like I said, that was one of his special abilities, but you had to be in the red zone, which is like all the way at the highest
Oh, yeah, for
experience
sure.
point level to get. And I've not that I've played a lot of Zombicide, I've never gotten to that level.
Wow.
But
That's wild.
so like when we played as ranged characters, you're able to do a lot more because you can kill the zombies before they can get to you, kind of. But it was fun, like going up against the zombie superheroes. They were super hard sometimes, but yeah, I think we had a lot of fun with it, and our son really liked it. He liked picking out all the miniatures and stuff like that and playing with those. But yeah, it was good.
Nice. Well, I guess I actually have a copy of that as well. I really need to get to the table because it sounds like a lot of fun. But I think I'll stick with the hero version because that's what everybody seems to like.
Yeah, the hero version's great. I thought it was really good. I like how you can in that game you can power up your character to get extra dice rolls, so you can get some re-rolls with that, and then your power up, power to use your special abilities. There's special abilities like it'll say spend a power to do something really cool. So like some of the character powers are pretty neat. And then when you rescue a bystander, they give you a special ability. So it's kind of like
cool.
a benefit to gives you an extra thing to make you a little bit different. I know there's not, kind of like Rob was saying, there's no equipment, but the bystanders kind of differentiate you a little bit. Your special powers differentiate you as well as the heroic traits you collect.
Okay, cool. Well, Rob came up with the topic for today. So I guess if you want to lead us into that, Rob.
Well, this morning they did the Oscar announcements for all the nominations for the Oscars, and I was like, "Hey, man, we've talked about this in the past about movies and stuff like that. I know I've done the whole Matrix needs to be Queen's Gambit needs to be re-themed as the Matrix, but I was like, what is a movie out there that we would love to see turned into a board game?" And I know the one that I picked, I went really into the left field. And so I'm really excited. I started to get excited as I was thinking in my head how this game would be played out if this was turned in, or how this movie would be played out if it was turned into a game. And so I'm ready to sign. If any developers and stuff are listening, let's go ahead and get the IP. I think it should be available because this movie's so old. And let's go ahead and make this a game. So the topic for tonight is movies that you would like to see turned into board games. Do you want me to start off, or do you want somebody else to go first?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We can go in whichever order. Since you kind of teased yours.
Yeah, I think roll it.
I definitely want to hear the vision board for this one.
So my movie was Shawshank Redemption.
Wait, we have to make sure Emerson's not in the chat first. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Emerson, if you steal this one, just give me like a little bit of money. Just a little. But my movie was Shawshank Redemption, and the way that I was seeing this played is this would be a one versus many, and what's going to happen is one player is the warden, and one player is the warden, and he can use the guards and stuff like that, and everybody else is one of the prisoners. Everybody else, because like when they were doing the roof. The tarring of the roof of 1929 is the year we all got our brewskis, right? And there was a bunch of different like prisoners and stuff on the. Anyway, everybody else is a prisoner, and your goal as the prisoner is to try to pick an avenue to be able to escape the prison, whether that's serving your sentence and doing just normal things to be able to try to get out and serve your sentence and be fine, but serve your sentence and be fine mentally, where you don't go insane, where you kill yourself, right? Because that happens in the movie. Or do you do something where you're trying to like dig the tunnel and get out? So everybody secretly is going to, it's one versus many, but everybody's also doing their stuff secretly behind, like you're picking your moves secretly, almost like Game of Thrones, where you're putting your moves down on the board of what you're going to be doing. And the warden can only pick up to 2 areas that he's going to try to affect. So you want to play with like at least 5 or 6 people. So that means a couple of the inmates are going to get messed with, but the warden, of course, can't have eyes everywhere. And so the game is played in 2 halves. Your first half of the game is, do you meet your requirements to make your escape? Whether you escaped through digging out or you served your sentence. And did the warden mess you up enough where you couldn't escape? For everybody that made their requirements to escape, then there's a second, like real quick one-off session where it's basically a die roll off, where the warden and his crew they're trying to search for you, or they're trying to get to you and try to stop you from coming. And so the warden player, he gets to roll so many dice, kind of. You remember when you play War of the Ring, and towards the end of Mount Doom, you pull the tags out of the bag, and the closer you get to Mount Doom, the harder it is.
Yeah.
That's what it's sort of like the second half of the game. It's like, okay, if you're going the escape route, then you got to get this bag and you got to pull stuff out, and the warden can do so much to you. And if you're doing the other route, then you got to roll to see if your mental health is in the right place so you actually survive and win the game. So it's one of those games where it's a one versus many, which Shawshank Redemption, it was definitely the prisoners versus the prison. I thought this would be really cool. Combination of multiple style games all put together, and like one of the things you'd have to do is if you're digging a tunnel, you have to release the dirt in the yard without getting noticed, right? So how would you do that? Whether it's like you're playing a card or whether you're rolling a dice, and if you roll the dice and like let's say a 1 through 3, you get discovered. All of a sudden they're like, hey, why do you have... Like, if you roll a 3, maybe they only notice a little dirt on your shoes. But if you roll a 1, they clearly see, like, dirt coming down your pants as you're releasing
I think you have an actual bag of dirt that you get for each player, and you have to hide it.
You have to discreetly dump it in the person's house.
It's like Cheaty Moths. It's Cheaty Moths.
That's what the deluxe
with
edition.
a bag of dirt.
But yeah, you have different options and stuff like that, and how you're going to get out and different things. I just thought that'd be kind of fun. I was really trying to press. I was trying to go as far as I could go into a movie that should not be a board game. But I think now that I've convinced myself that I want to play it.
It could be. It's a popular movie, so hey.
I'd try it. I'd be the warden. I'd get everybody. Which would help since I'm making up the rules as I go, so Kent would not play. But I think it'd be a lot of fun. So anyway, that was my movie, Shawshank Redemption. I think it'd be a cool board game.
I think it's a good pitch.
Well, I guess we should get to Adam's movie. I'm upset that I haven't seen this movie because I've heard a lot of amazing things about it.
So the movie I would love as a board game, and I actually thought about this a tiny bit, I think after the second time I watched it, is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is the darling of 2022.
It's so good.
It's a great movie. It's one of my favorite movies. It deserves all the hype that it got. It's the kind of movie that I really enjoy in that it's just a fantastic adventure, which is like my favorite stuff. I love, Jurassic Park and Lord of the Rings, and I want a big giant adventure. But the fun thing about this, and the reason I think it would make a really great board game, is you have this really unique theme, and that the adventure is kind of internalized, right? So Evelyn is this character who is only one of many Evelyns along the multiverse. And as she kind of becomes one with herself and one with the other versions of herself, she becomes more powerful. So for me, this is a co-op game where everyone is Evelyn, right? So you start as a different version of her in different multiverses, right? And it probably would suck to start as The Rock, but if you start as The Rock, Evelyn, you see what I mean? Like the character cards could be wild. You could have 30, 40, 50 of them. And then for me, it's like you're trying to save the laundromat, or you're trying to save your husband or your father-in-law, like maybe, or your father. Like you have these different characters that you can go do a little pick up and save kind of a mechanic. But to me, the fun part would be ingesting the powers from the unused characters. So if it's a 4-player co-op, you're going to draw from the other characters you wouldn't get. And there's kind of a version that you get if they're your main character, but there's a version where you can tuck it, and you're going to get those certain powers that you learn on your spiritual journey through the multiverse. And going through the equipment, I was just thinking how fun it would be to have the eyeballs and the adult implements as weapons and stuff.
The hot dog hands.
Hot dog hands. Like, just think about that. So for me, this was like a little bit of a dungeon crawler, but it's definitely kind of got that story-driven vibe to it, where you're going to get some really wild powers, and they're going to combo in ways that you would never think. But I want there to be a stupid stack of Evelyns, And I think the fun thing about that is that person, you could add to the fiction, not just use the fiction that's in the movie. And
so is this like a Legendary game?
Yeah, I think you'd either have to do it like Legendary in format. That'd probably be a really good way to box it, so you could have that stuff in there. I mean, you could do a big dungeon crawl. I think card driven would probably be a little bit easier from a formatting standpoint. Otherwise, you'd end up with 5 boxes that weighed 30 pounds, I think, to do it.
You just have a board with like 50 different universes, and you're like, all right, you need to go over to Gamma 6 and then repair the temporal.
Yeah, I think something like a legendary format would be like something along those lines would
Or like
probably
maybe even a deck building Marvel United style where like you can move across the board, but you have the story that's playing out with cards as you go along type of a thing.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad one either. Because with Marvel United, maybe you could bring in some different enemies. You could bring in some of those different little spaces around the board. Ooh, a circular board for this would look really dope too, because it would have that kind of upside down and around vibe. So yeah, actually that might be the combo, and then you could have little Evelyn minis if you wanted. That would be fun. I don't know. That's what I would go for. It's definitely one of my favorite movies ever. And I actually think it would be unique to have a co-op game where 5 people are all playing the same character, but not. You know.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and who doesn't love a good laundromat as the place you're playing in?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's solid. I'll be honest, the picture that you put into the sheet, I thought it was a board game because I hadn't seen that poster before. So I was like,
Oh,
whoa,
nice.
this is crazy. All right.
Yeah, doesn't it just feel like it could be? Like that was the thing for me. It just feels like it could be. I don't know.
Did A24 put that out, or is it somebody else?
I believe it's an A24 film.
Yeah. A24 just seems like the production company that would be like, yeah, we made a tie-in board game.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should get to the to Matt's game, which I'm sure is a spoiler, or movie, which I'm sure is spoiled already at this point.
It's
But
okay,
it is
man.
Sunshine.
Yeah, the movie Sunshine. It is I don't feel like it was on a lot of people's radar. It wasn't on mine. It was just something that got mentioned casually between like Rob and I think AJ had talked about it, and it was just it's a sci-fi thriller where the sun is going out, and so humans have decided to launch a mission to put a bunch of nukes on a spaceship and then launch it at the sun to try to get it to restart so that everybody doesn't die.
Does sound like a Dr. Evil plot.
Yeah. And it's like the movie is really good. It's suspenseful. There's some just weird stuff that's going on because they're not the first mission that was sent, you know. And I think I'm a sucker for space games. And I have this hankering for a Crossroads game in space that is not
Not Gen 6?
Yeah. Sorry, Plaid Hat. I just, and I think that this would be a property that you could do a lot of fun stuff with it, where it's you're on a mission on a ship with a bunch of people to do one thing, and then stuff starts to get a little weird. And maybe you've got some people who have secret agendas, or maybe as the game goes on, stuff changes. And then all of a sudden, a guy that you were trusting is staring at the sun too long, and saying some weird stuff in the mess hall. I don't know. It just seems like a good candidate for a social deduction kind of Dead of
I think it'd be
Winter
a great
space
Crossroads game.
Yeah, I think that Dead of Winter style for that would be actually dope. Especially with like the insanity as a component instead of monsters. Like who's losing it? Like maybe we were just we were talking about human punishment. Maybe your loyalties change as you go.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
It's one of those things that like I have a small like Google Notes tab on my phone that I'll open up anytime I come up with a neat space idea, because I'm like, okay, maybe I have to make the Crossroads game, right?
There you go.
Like, so let's come up with different scenarios or ideas. And I love the idea with like how sort of the Dead of Winter expansions came out, where you had more sort of focused storylines each time you played. And I was, you could, your ship is now just like you were part of a military attaché that was doing a jump, and you came out, you don't know where you are. Something's in the ship.
I love how Mansions of Madness does the insanity thing, or Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, where you get a certain number of sanity and you go insane and you get a card where you now have different like a win condition maybe, but you could still be on the same win condition as everybody else, but you're not allowed to talk about it. Or your win condition could be like blow up the ship now,
Yep.
but nobody actually knows, but they really don't want you to go insane, so they're trying to keep you from going insane. But if you quite do, like, oh well, now I've turned against everybody.
That would be
great.
That would be really fun. Matt, I think you're actually on to
Yeah.
something with that. I like that a lot. And you could listen to the soundtrack. It's got a great electronic
absolutely.
sound.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Aphex Twin, like, yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
it
good.
definitely gives you the vibes for sure.
So my movie is an old school movie called The Last Starfighter. It's a movie where
Yes.
you play
Yes.
the main character is playing an arcade machine, and he played it so well that arcade machine was actually planted by aliens to find the last starfighter who could actually help them fight off the alien hordes or whatever. But yeah, this sort of game gives you like the Galaga style feel, which I actually got Ruthie Galaga for Christmas, a little Galaga, like whatever they're called, like the 1-Up machines or whatever. But I'm super into that sort of game, and I know they've done it with like Kimball's Cascade, but having a game where like ships are just always coming at you and you're the last starfighter trying to fight off all the ships that are just surrounding you everywhere is always a kind of interesting concept to me. And I might end up making a game like this. Probably not with that IP, but
You might be able to get that IP, Roy, because I don't even think that was a good movie when it came out.
I
love
probably
it,
just
by
have
the way.
I probably just have a lot of nostalgia for it. Also, the Death Blossom or whatever in this game, like the finale of the whole movie. Spoiler alert: is the fact like the ship just spins around and just shoots in every single direction. There's actually a Death Blossom card in Last Light. And I don't know how many people know that like that card is literally from The Last Starfighter, where like you just re-roll every time you get a special ability symbol, or whenever you get a special ability symbol, you just roll an attack for every single ship, so you have a chance to blow up every single ship. And my developer Josh was all like, "This card seems OP." I'm like, "It was OP in the movie," but yeah. but nah, he nerfed it a little bit,
awesome.
but it's still really good. So that is The Last Starfighter. I feel like you could make an interesting game. I feel like there needs to be more games. Like I don't like Flip Ships is good, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like
Yeah, I like flip ships.
games where you're like the spaceship, I feel like there needs to be more like easy to play, like No Man's Skies, like space games. I don't know. I feel like what is it? ISS Vanguard is just so complex that I've never been able to like get it to
too
the
big.
table. It's way too big. I don't hear people talking about it anymore, but it seems like that game could have been like a really cool space exploration game. But Last Starfighter is about blowing up.
It's
a bunch
the
small
type of
ships.
game that if you play it, like that's all you're playing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to get into those lifestyle style games, And anything
For
Awakened
me,
Realms,
Roy,
rule
the
set.
theme works because you can do my favorite thing. Well, one of my favorite things, which is flying frog. That thing you can just use all the old art, like the real people art from Last Starfighter.
Goodness
Like, don't
gracious, the
attempt to get an
aliens!
helicopter.
The aliens
Just
in that
still-
movie are just so ridiculous.
Yeah, the horrible alien makeup. Just go right for the cheese. Like if it were going to be a shoot 'em up game, I think that's what you do. I think that you stick with stills from the movie, like just bad, like film celluloid, like edges on stuff. It would be really fun to have like an 80s sci-fi shoot 'em up, and it just actually it's in a VHS box. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
That would be cool.
Well, Kent stole Rob's old pick. Here you go.
Yeah,
Kent, what's
so
yours?
Robin, I decided to go with the Matrix. I feel like this it just makes itself. So, it'd obviously be a Euro game. You play as the machines, and it is not easy to manage all these people and produce all the energy you need to keep all your factories running. So, it's
just
going to be
ruined
a heavy resource management game.
Terra Mystica Matrix.
So you're each a robot faction. You're trying.
Is there a way to kick people off of Skype?
You're trying to do the best job at producing energy. So
Oh man.
there's a lot of logistics involved in that. You got to move people to the right places. You got to breed new humans. You got to get them implanted with the right equipment. It takes a lot of fuel. You got to harvest resources to manage all that. You got to produce all these new machines and factories. So it's a Euro. It writes itself. But it's not all easy. You got agents, or I'm sorry, you have humans that have escaped and they're trying to stop you. So not only are you trying to maximize your power, you're being hindered by humans who have discovered what's going on. and they're trying to stop you at every turn. So you've got to manage that in addition to your whole engine and all your resources you're
Send out
building.
your agents to stop them.
Yeah, so I think it would
What's
be
really
a perfect
sad is they'll make-
hero
they'll
game.
make Ken's copy version first.
I love it,
And
man.
I think it
Power
just
group
works.
of people.
And it's got a twist. So the twist is you're playing a hero game instead of
I
Fun action.
hate how well thought out that was.
Now Rob's game can still be made, the Queen's Gambit game where you play as the good guys. But I think it works. I think it works for the
Cool.
Matrix.
Or we marry the two ideas and make it like a War of the Ring style game.
Yeah,
Or
you could do that.
super asymmetrical.
Asymmetrical.
Yeah, that would work too.
Oh my
That
god.
was my thought.
One person is literally just playing a Euro game, and the other
Ken,
person.
I almost
Just
hyperventilated. I
fucking
started crying because I thought it was a joke, and then you had
He
actual
kept going. He kept
plot
going.
for it, and I'm like,
It's like,
oh
I got
my
2 pages of rules.
God. What
Got
a
the
trap!
factory.
That's like a bear trap for Rob Newman. He'd be like, "A Matrix game? Look at these components! Oh my god, the pods are real clear plastic with the human batteries in it. I'm gonna buy this." And then he'd like open the rulebook and be like, "Can't!" Like,
The rule book's 36 pages.
in in cryo, there's a mechanic where you take the little humans that are like in these little cryostasis pods, and you can put them to like be batteries for like a little bit to give you resources, and it reminds me a little bit of that. So I love cryo.
I hate what a great idea that was.
Yeah, that was.
I was like, he's just saying this to get a rise out of Rob, and then he's gonna have like a little more of a trashy version of it. No,
It
that
works.
was- No, it really playing as the machines and making it a resource management game with the human bodies. Man, it's so dark.
Courtney, please save us.
Eurogamers, evil confirmed.
We're
All right,
saving-
Courtney, how are you turning this game into a Euro? Or this movie?
I'm not doing a Euro. My pick was Indiana Jones. Because I just feel like it's such a older IP. Like, and I'm just surprised nobody's come out with a game like that. But my whole thought is I love co-op games, so I would totally go co-op. And what's better than like kicking Nazi butt? So you are, I feel like total
That's the best one.
app driven game. Where you're like trying to go to you have to go to different areas, and when you go to that area, you get clues to go to your next area. But I feel like it'd have to be an app-based game because otherwise you wouldn't have much replayability, or you'd have to do like different scenarios or something. But yeah, I'm not a game designer, so I just wanted something where you're
Like Indiana
going around.
Jones,
You're
Madness
doing
style?
kind of like that, but like finding more clues and then
Mhm.
getting to the end and finding the grail or whatever yours. But yeah, Last Crusade is my favorite Indiana Jones, in case anybody's wondering. But
The penitent man shall pass. The penitent man shall pass.
but yeah, I just like that theme, and like I said, I don't think anything's been done close with that theme. So yeah.
No, I think if you did it like a Mansions of Madness second edition style with the app, where things constantly moved around and stuff, and then you could add new adventures and stuff, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
The last
Yeah, it's actually it's surprising that there's not like a tile reveal dungeon crawler that's like either Indiana Jones or Lara Croft or
Yeah.
Nathan Drake. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean that.
There's a few that don't have the IP that are sort of like that, but not really like what Courtney's talking about at all.
I would say Mansions of Madness itself has like the whole like temple like theme with like the snakes and stuff like that, but it's not Indiana Jones at all. It would be cool if it had something like that, but it felt more like Detective City of Angels, where like characters could like lie to you and stuff like that, and you could have to like shake them down to get them to tell you the truth. That sort of
And
thing.
an app could do that for sure.
Yeah, like not kill somebody and interrogate them or something.
Yeah.
Well, depending
that'd
on like
be-
what card or what you rolled, depends on how truthful they are.
Yeah.
So
This is going to be Direwolf Digital's next game.
Yeah, there you go.
100%.
There's your distributor, because I don't know.
They get the
I
IPs,
I
they
love
get
that
the
movie too,
development.
Courtney. That's
Yeah.
one of those adventure movies for me where I'm like, so great.
Yeah.
So much fun. But yeah, I guess that
Nothing's
is
a
our.
Matrix resource management.
I did
Our
want to say,
5
just kind of
movies.
as an honorable mention, because you initially put this topic for us, like one of the things I thought of, which is not a movie, but I don't know if you guys ever watched The Big Bang Theory, but like in The Big Bang Theory, they play this game called The Mystic Warlords of Ka'a, and it's like not a real game, but it should be. Like I think somebody should like take that IP and like make it
It's
into
their
an actual
version of the
game that's
Cones of
playable.
Cones of Dunshire. Yeah.
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 Sort of
It's like a
game.
CCG or something like that. It's I don't know. But
Wait.
like in the way they talk about it in the show, it doesn't actually sound like a playable game. But like I don't know, I just think it would be funny if they made it into a playable game. But
Well, they turned Card Wars into a real thing with Adventure Time. You can
Yeah.
flip the pig. So
You forgot about the cones, sir. Like, like it's like one of those things.
But the essence of the game.
The cones.
love it.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Well, that was our topic for tonight.
Not
But
so
yeah.
bad.
Not so bad. So many.
I think we had some good pitches here.
Yeah.
We should
That's
start.
the
We should
problem.
Right.
start
Alright,
a
so-
consultant agency for board game themes.
Right. So
well, Roy knows all the people, right?
all the
But look,
people.
here's what we got to do. We just got to get together for a week. We got to just pump out some rough draft rule books, start doing some play testing, and then we'll follow Roy to the people that he talks to.
You gotta line it up with
We're
the correct
starting
publisher.
with the Matrix Dark Resource Management.
It's so hard
Rob
to be like.
Rob can make somebody buy anything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it used.
Salesman.
I actually feel like it used to be much harder to get IPs back in the day than it is now. You know, now it's like, well, this publisher has the IP. This publisher that gets your game is going to partner with that publisher so they can borrow the IP, like Spin Masters throwing around IPs for percentages of games, like left and right. It's like
they're not
Spin
gonna
Master,
give
we're going to make
out.
games about poop, but also we'll let you borrow an IP. You know, that sort of thing.
That's what
Fair
money's in now. Money's in that intellectual property. I'm gonna hold on to that so you pay me.
There you go.
I mean,
But yeah, so many awesome games that there could be. Hopefully someday we'll see them. But yeah, well, we do want to thank everybody for joining us here in chat. Thanks for everybody for stopping by and saying hi, and make sure to check us out on our YouTubes. We're going to be trying to make sure to do these a little bit more regularly. I've been having cons. Sickness has been going around. Hopefully everybody feels more healthy in the future. We can have Ruthie on next week as well. We got the full slate of people, or next
That's
time
right.
we do it, you know. But yeah, and then Rob can tell us all about his new role playing game. Dun 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 dun.
My new one. Oh, the
New campaign.
the new campaign, bro. I'm really excited for it, man. I've already started to write out stuff, and I've already sent off things for people to choose their backgrounds and things like that. And I've already given Sammy permission to kill as many people, regardless
Oh
of
wow!
Of their age.
or whatever.
Regardless of their age.
Yeah.
And so I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and it all starts off with love. It
There you
all
go.
starts off, and the guy who's calling everybody, his name is Prissippus.
In a game of kitten sucker.
He's just in love. He's in love with this person, and he wants help because he knows she's out of his league. And so he's like, hey guys, I need y'all to help me. And that's what's gonna bring everybody together. You gotta have something to get everybody.
We love some romance.
Right.
There you go.
mhm.
And then Rob left. Boom. Done. We lost his video. Oh, there we go. Back.
Kick the USB cord or something.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. We'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.